And I want to offer compassion that wherever you are in this and whatever you need to take care of yourself, I want to encourage you to do that. It doesn't mean you don't love your family. You can absolutely love your family and still be triggered by them. It doesn't mean that if your family is inappropriate to you or disrespectful of your life choices that you need to interact with them. It just means that life is showing you where there is still healing work to be done. All right, YouTube friends, Ketamine Connections, I'm Anna Kristal. This is a short clip to remind you that the video you're about to see is not made for YouTube. It is simply a video recording of me recording the Ketamine Connections podcast that you can find on Spotify, you can find on iTunes, you can find on Amazon. Honestly, pretty much anywhere you listen to podcasts, Ketamine Connections is there. And we want to get it on YouTube because we have all of this amazing video. Some of you are really enjoying watching me record this. So that is what this video is. It's not designed for YouTube. And I hope you enjoy. And please let me know below in the show notes if you're liking this format, because we want to do the things that you like, the things that help you and really serve you, because this is really for you. Enjoy. Why is it that you can feel grounded and happy and free and like you finally shifted out of a dense state that you've been working to shift out of, and then all of a sudden something happens and you are back in that old state? And maybe you feel regressed. Maybe you feel like, oh, that happiness, that freedom I felt was fleeting. It wasn't real. This density that I've been experiencing for a larger part of my life is more real than that. And that is exactly what we're talking about today here on Ketamine Connections. Welcome back. My name is Anna Kristal. At the airing of this episode, it is the Wednesday right before a very popular US holiday, Thanksgiving. This is a holiday that brings family together a lot of times, whether it is chosen family or family of origin. And I know a lot of people need support around this time. And so we're going to get into it today. We're going to get into a really common experience where you are feeling so free, so healed, so enlightened. And then you go spend some time with your family and you are maybe like I did one time, slamming doors, stomping your feet, and feeling really regressed to a younger, unhealed version of yourself. We're going to normalize that experience. We're going to expand on how healing is not a linear path. And so normalizing that sometimes it's 2 steps forward, 1 step back, or 5 steps backward to go 2 steps forward. We're going to get into how this is impacted in your subconscious mind. And my favorite thing to do is to offer you tools. So, the very last few minutes of this episode, I want you to know that you can save this to come back to. I'm going to take you through a grounding practice that will help you release any hard emotion that you're feeling and step into a more centered version of yourself so that you can show up the way that you want to show up for wherever you are. This episode is inspired by 2 things. One, this is the work that I've been doing with one-on-one clients for the past few weeks, is preparing them to stay as centered and grounded as possible as they encounter situations, people, and questions that are out of the norm. And 2, there's a Ram Dass quote that I absolutely love where he says, if you think you're so enlightened, go spend a week with your family. I know the first time I heard that, I felt very seen in that experience, and I felt very normalized around this experience of feeling different in one situation than another, and specifically feeling really different around my family of origin than in a different context that I was in at the time. Now, I want to right away say that even if you love your family, especially if you love your family, this episode is still for you. I know there's a lot of people out there that are estranged from your family. I know that the state of the world, the state of the country, the state of algorithms has us feeling more disconnected than ever from our people, from our family of origin. And this episode is still for you, regardless of whether you have positive feelings or negative feelings, whether you are talking to your family or not. There is something for you in this episode. I'm always a fan of taking the space that you need to take care of yourself. And the thing to remember that often comes up in this work is that avoiding your triggers is not healing. This doesn't mean you need to perpetuate toxic dynamics. It doesn't mean you need to talk to anyone that is genuinely not good for your well-being, but it does mean that you get to do the work to deactivate the triggers that has you activated around a certain topic or a certain dynamic. Because what the world needs now more than anything is that it needs us to be regulated, it needs us to be in our power, and it needs us to speak from that grounded, centered, powerful place for whatever changes we want to make in the world, and for us to really be that change we want to see in the world. Let's dive in a little bit deeper into this topic of triggers. I've already said it a few times. Now, oftentimes on the Ketamine Connections podcast, when we are talking about triggers, we are talking about trauma triggers. Not completely disconnected, but I did pull up the literal definition of triggers so we can work with that definition specifically for today's episode. So we have two definitions, definition for trigger, the noun, and definition for trigger, the verb. So the noun definition is a small device that releases a spring or catch and sets off a mechanism, especially to fire a gun. Not sure why a gun, but there it is. So that's the noun definition. The verb definition, to cause an event or situation to happen or exist. So if we take those definitions and we combine them and we think of a trigger as something that sets off a mechanism and causes an event or situation to happen. An event or situation like what I said earlier, me stomping my feet, storming out of the room, I can't remember, but maybe I slammed the door. I don't know for sure. And those are just sample go-to responses to feeling activated, to having this spring go off and the response to that button being pushed happening. Now, if we think of these mechanisms, these triggers as buttons, well, your family of origin literally installed these buttons. They installed them so they know how to hit the bullseye with a higher success rate than anything else in your life. It's common for this to feel like a regression. That's what a lot of my clients say when this happens to them. And I assure you that it's not a regression because the healing path is not linear. So for it to be a regression, it would mean that you were in point A, you went to point B, and now you're back at point A. And that's not the entire truth. When these mechanisms are set off and you respond in a way that is familiar, it is a reminder of something that has yet to be dealt with. It's a reminder where the wound is still fresh, and it's a reminder that there is still work to be done in that area. The way that I explain this to all of my clients is we talk about a spiral staircase of healing. Now, when you are standing on the second floor, looking at a certain vantage point on the spiral staircase, you have a certain view that is maybe closer to that, whatever you're looking at. And as you begin to walk the spiral staircase, then say now you're on the 5th floor or the 100th floor. It's not even really totally important which number floor you're on, but you're looking at the same situation from a different vantage point, which changes what you look at. In fact, even being able to view a response that you had that was probably at one time involuntary and automatic, and you're looking at it going, oh, actually, I could have responded differently, or I would have liked to respond differently. Never that you should have responded differently. Should is a dirty word. We don't go there. But rather, oh, wow, I had an option and I chose one that was old, that was unskilled, that isn't really how I want to show up in the world. That difference alone is already showing that you have made strides and that the mechanism that feels familiar is still something that has created space around it. This doesn't mean that you're not getting better. In fact, it actually means that you are probably further along than you may consider. Go back and listen to episode 68. Casey Dubrovic and I talk more about how the path is not linear and how it is common, and we really want to normalize that there are times where you're going to feel worse before you feel better. And that doesn't mean you're not getting better as a whole. Something that I work with clients a lot on is this concept of becoming unfuck with a bull, right? Meaning that you're not able to be as activated, as triggered as you were previously. Now, if that's the journey that you're on, to get real and honest that life is always going to life, that the purpose of this work is not to create an easier life that is more sunshine and rainbows and butterflies, but rather to be able to walk through the storms of life, knowing that you have an umbrella, that you have a raincoat, that you have lots of tools to support you rather than just drowning in the storm. Wishing for an easy existence is unattainable and not real. But what is real is this concept of becoming unfuckwithable, where the same stimuli can come at you and you're responding to it differently because you are different. So if you think about, okay, every time that question comes up of when are you going to get married or when are you going to have children or fill in the blank for whatever triggering question it is for you, those are common ones. The first few times you hear that question or the first few times you experience this uncomfortable situation, you're on that second floor, you're closer to it and you're viewing it really close up. Eventually, you're on the 100th floor and it's not a beast right there in your face. It's more like a fly or a mosquito that flies by. And you're like, oh, yeah, that old question. That used to really suck. Now I'm just grounded in my truth. I can respond from an even place and I don't need to go on this journey of feeling activated, triggered, and feeling regressed in my healing because now I'm grounded in my truth and I can respond from this grounded place. I don't know about you, but I have not yet run out of being asked dumb questions in the world. They are subjectively dumb to me. I'm sure the person asking them feels like it's a very intelligent and reasonable question. To me, it sounds imposing, it sounds offensive, whatever it is. And I don't live in a reality where I think those questions are going to stop, but rather I live in a reality where I take responsibility for my nervous system, for my triggers. And I recognize that the only thing I can control is me, not the way that the world approaches me. It's up to you to set up the conditions for you to feel better, even if that means taking yourself out of a situation, but taking yourself out of it from a grounded, empowered place, not from a finger pointing, storming out of the room place. And for those that don't know, Ram Dass is an amazing spiritual teacher who brought a lot of Eastern teachings to the West. And this is a very common quote of his. If you think you're so enlightened, go spend a week with your family. I want to normalize how difficult this can be. I want to normalize that it can take several rounds, maybe years, for you to get to a place where you're completely deactivated from all of these triggers. And I want to offer compassion that wherever you are in this and whatever you need to take care of yourself, I want to encourage you to do that. It doesn't mean you don't love your family. You can absolutely love your family and still be triggered by them. It doesn't mean that if your family is inappropriate to you or disrespectful of your life choices that you need to interact with them. It just means that life is showing you where there is still healing work to be done. So without further ado, I've put together this quick 4 to 5 minute SOS moment where you can come back to this part of the podcast of the recording and take what you need to get back into yourself if you're feeling activated, if you're walking into a situation where you know you're likely to get activated, or really just at the beginning or the end of the day to set yourself up. You can use this around the holidays for sure. And the more you use it, the better it's going to get because anytime we deal with any subconscious work, the more you go to that place, the deeper you go and the better you feel. And the more you dig in the grooves of feeling regulated, of feeling resourced rather than feeling activated and under resourced. Okay, now before we jump into the SOS toolkit, I want you to take an inventory of your starting stress level, starting with 1, ending with 10. 1 being the least stress you know in your body, 10 being the most. What are you starting with? First number that pops to mind is great. Go ahead and tuck that away. So, the first thing we're going to do in this SOS toolkit is we are going to take a deep breath. You can keep your eyes open or you can close them down. Follow along. Take a big breath in through the nose. Exhale, let it go. You can keep the eyes closed or you can open them. You're going to take your dominant hand and you're going to tap the pinky side edge of your non-dominant hand. This is the karate chop point. This is a technique called EFT, emotional freedom technique. It is powerful. It is amazing. And as you tap the karate chop point, take another big breath in through the nose. Exhale, let it go. Good. And repeat either silently or out loud after me. Even though I'm feeling activated, I'm here to take a breath. Even though I'm feeling a lot of feelings right now, I know that I can control my breath, and that is a big part of how I get to show up right now. Even though the situation feels hard, I can be gentle with myself. And even if I'm triggered or about to be triggered, I choose to feel safe. I choose to see how I'm growing. I choose grace. I choose compassion. I choose to fully and completely love and accept and forgive myself. Big breath in, bigger breath out. You can release the tapping now, and we'll just do some down regulating breaths. So exhale all of the air out of your nose and inhale for a count of 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold the breath. Exhale 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold the breath. Inhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold 2, 3. Exhale 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold 2, 3. Inhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold 2, 3. Exhale 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold 2, 3. Inhale, hold, exhale, hold. Last one. Inhale, hold, exhale, hold. Take a few moments to breathe however you like. Good. And then cross your hands over your chest. So, right hand on left shoulder, left hand on right shoulder, and just begin tapping back and forth. These are called butterfly taps. And just cross your arms and tap left and right and left and right and left and right and right and left. And maybe as you tap, you remember that you're safe, that you are growing out of old patterns, and that even just taking a few moments to do this is regaining choice in how you show up. Pause the tapping, big breath in, bigger breath out. Good. And then just shake your hands out. Shake, shake, shake. Yeah, just releasing the wrist, releasing the finger. Shake, shake, shake the hands. And release the hands down. Take another big breath in. Bigger breath out. Good. Keeping the eyes closed for a moment, I want you to imagine a point about 10 to 14 inches right above the crown of your head. And I want you to imagine that it's almost like a fountain and it's dripping an egg shaped protective layer around you. And that meets at a point that's about 10 to 14 inches below your feet. And so just taking a moment to imagine this bubble egg veil shape forming around you. It's covering you on all sides, 365 degrees around you. Good. Take a big breath in. Bigger breath out. Good. And just taking a moment to rid this bubble, this egg shaped bubble, of any unwanted emotion, releasing any anger, any blame, any shame, anything at all that keeps you from feeling soft and safe and grounded. Good. Take a big breath in, bigger breath out. And imagining the walls, the barrier, the veil of this egg shaped bubble just hardening a little bit. Hardening so that anything that serves your highest and greatest good, anything that serves your evolution, your integration, your growth can get in. But if there's anything denser than that, it's going to just bounce right off the barrier of that bubble. Good. Big breath in, bigger breath out. And feeling the warmth and protection of your bubble, just repeating silently or out loud after me. I am safe. I am calm. I choose to be here. I am safe. I am calm. I choose to be here. I am safe. I am calm. I choose to be here. Good. One more time. Big breath in. Let it go. Okay, now before you open your eyes, I want you to take an inventory of your ending stress level. 1 being the least stress, 10 being the most. What are you ending up with? Acknowledging how much can change in a short 5-minute practice, and also reinforcing that the more often you do this, the more you're practicing a desired state of being rather than the default that you've been in for however long. This is a good one to come back to in the beginning or the end of the day. It's a good one to revisit time and time again so you can even memorize it and make it your own. And just remember that regardless of what happens this holiday season, you are changing, you are growing, and your subconscious mind is leading you to the exact right situations that you need on that path. And if it is supportive to you, these practices, more information about the subconscious, more tools to work with your subconscious. In the show notes, I have the link to the Ketamine Starter portal. That's going to get you into a portal where we already have some tools available for you. It's also going to land you on my email list where every Friday you're going to get a subconscious tool into your inbox to work with the energy of the week, to empower you towards your highest transformation and growth, and to remind you that change is possible, albeit not always linear. So I'm rooting for you this holiday season and always. Thank you again for being here on Ketamine Connections, and I'll see you next week. Bye. Hey, friends. Thank you so much for joining me today on Ketamine Connections. I hope that this episode inspired you. I hope that it uplifted you. And I hope it just expanded your mind in some way with some perspective shift. We have been running this show for over a year now, which is incredible. And after more than 50 episodes, we have so many different resources to offer you. And we took all of those resources, we put it into one place called the Ketamine Starter portal. Check that out in the show notes. Everything you need is there. All of our guides, anything that we've talked about on the show is in that portal. And it's also the best way to get in contact with me, since we are not allowed to talk about psychedelics on social media. Being on the email list is the best way to get updates, to get all of the information that you need, and to stay in touch. So I really hope to see you in there.